Good evening, Shortcut. Stephen here. This is list 2 for the price list that will go out at 9 p.m. sharp, Wednesday, 26th of June, Sydney time. 9 p.m. Sydney time, Wednesday, 26th of June. Every record on this list will go out with a price. First come, first serve. Reply to the email and you get the record. This is, if you'd like to be on that list, shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. This is a full-on, straight down the line classic rock list. This is 10 or 15, maybe even slightly more. Great rock records, every one of them here on merit. I got a bunch of these at really good prices. I'm passing them on to you folks. You're going to be blown away, I hope. Yeah, keep an eye out on the list. It's extremely sharp pricing on these records. Now, where to start? Well, there are a couple of records up the top that I think are pretty special, so I'm going to start with those. And there's at least one, maybe two Shortcuts royalty in this list, but I had to start here. I've never seen this before. If any of you out there know anything about this record, please get in touch. It is called No More War! ! / protest songs, Bob Dylan and Pete Seeger. Now this cover is amazing. It looks like it could be a Bob Dylan painting in the same way that he did the sleeve for the band's Music from Big Pink, but no confirmation. I cannot find very much about this record at all. On side 2, you can see the names of the songs here in Japanese. I'll cover off what they are in a second. And a picture of the mushroom cloud from the atomic bomb dropped in Hiroshima in 1945. Now, this hits me pretty hard because I was here a couple of months ago. We went to Japan for my 50th for 3 weeks, and we went to Hiroshima. And in fact, in the booklet that comes with it, and I'll talk about a little bit more about this in a second, you'll see its official CBS booklet. In the back, it's got all the lyrics of the songs. It's a kind of a fold-out booklet. You'll see there's a photograph of the last building standing in Hiroshima, the dome from the council building that miraculously stood up to the atomic bomb. And I was there too, of course. And also there's this kind of obi that sits over the top of the sleeve with a bunch of the catalogue from Vanguard at the time. From Columbia Records at the time. And there's the original Columbia label. The record looks in amazing condition. It was released in 1966. Now, from what I can tell, only ever released in Japan, in just remarkable condition for its age, absolutely beautiful. From what I can tell, it looks like it was only made available through a book club, which is why there are so few of them out there. You can go and try and buy one on eBay for $500 or $600 if you've got that type of money, but you don't need to. You can get this one for a lot less than that. But it's very rare and very interesting. I cannot find no sales on Discogs, never been sold. There are some on sale on there for thousands of dollars. It's crazy. The Dylan songs are particularly special. Blowing in the Wind, Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, Talking World War II Blues, Master of War, The Times They Are Changing, and With God on Your Side. And then the Pete Seeger songs are the ones you might expect. You've got Where Have All the Flowers Gone, If I Had a Hammer, and of course, We Shall Overcome. So this is a really rare and unique thing. And if anyone knows anything about it, please let me know. Okay. Well, oh, and one other thing that's really interesting, because I just used Google Translate to read this. This is an essay that is effectively an excoriation of war in general and the fact that nuclear weapons were used against, or atomic weapons were used against Japan. So it's a very, very interesting piece indeed. So there you have it. I'm not quite sure why and how this one ended up with me, but I'm really glad it did. And maybe with someone out there who might know and love it. All right, now on to something polar opposite to Dylan and Seeger's detestation of war. And we've got, you ready for this? The Japanese first press of Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. In amazing condition. Honestly, this is near mint all round. It is pristine. Look at the lyric sheet. It is like it came out of the factory yesterday. And there were a lot of lyrics on this record. If this has been played any more than a couple of times, that would be it. Notoriously bad pressings all around the world, and this Japanese one's pretty good. So that's the other bonus. And therefore, quite rare, and therefore very, very hard to get. Bat Out of Hell, Japanese first press. Now here's one of maybe a couple Shortcuts royalty. There are quite a few of you out there who've got this record because of me, and I know you love them because you've sent me comments. It is Tons of Sobs by Free. This is one of the greatest blues hard rock albums of all time. Of all time. It is that good. Honestly, it's just wonderful. Everything about it. The Hunter, the Worry, Walk in My Shadow, I'm a Mover, Over the Green Hills Part 1, the kind of acoustic kickoff. Tons of Sobs by Free. An absolutely brilliant record. Let down by poor pressings, but not this one. This Japanese pressing sounds spectacular. If you don't know this record, hunt it out forthwith or try and grab this. Now, I've added a couple of extra Free records in. It's because these Japanese pressings of Free records really are good. Now, this is their most famous record, Fire and Water. Of course, the, in inverted commas, long version of All Right Now is on here. Somewhat of almost sounds like a bit of an anomaly, because you've got the likes of, Fire and Water, Heavy Load, Mr. Big, that are seriously bluesy and groovy, and then you've got the riff fest that is All Right Now. Now, if you don't want to dive into the albums, you can get this, which is also great. I have a copy of this as well. This is the compilation album that was released in Japan. I think it was 1975 on Island Records. I'm a Mover, Walk in My Shadow, The Hunter, Wishing Well, Fire and Water, All Right Now, Oh I Wept. Basically, all the best of them on one single record. So if you don't fancy having a crack at Fire and Water or Tons of Sobs, this will be a very cheap alternative. Now, what else do we got? We had a soundtrack in the jazz and blues list earlier as well. How about this? Now, I'm going to show you this, and let's see who can figure out what record this is. Soundtrack to what movie is this? Eh? Which reminds me, I forgot to do the quiz question. But I'm going to do it now while you're staring at this. If you can figure out what is the soundtrack. Actually, you know what? We'll make this the question. Who can figure out what the soundtrack is, what record this is from that picture? and we'll move this to the last record. I'll talk about it. I was going to talk about something else, but anyway, it's all malleable. All right, what about this? Oh, beautiful. Bowie's Station to Station. Station to Station, Golden Years, Word on a Wing, TVC 15 Stay, Wild as the Wind. This is, it's not a hot take because I think it's fair to say that sometimes Bowie's records are inconsistent. He made a lot, so of course, some are more inconsistent than others. This one, I think, maintains its tonality and its quality from start to end. Just really, just a really cool record. And highly recommend the Japanese press. As is this. Now, Bowie had his links to Mott the Hoople, of course, with All the Young Dudes. But this is the album The Hoople by Mott. Let's be clear. This is produced by Ian Hunter. This is full-on glam rock and unapologetically so. Look at the reviews. You'll see 5 and 10-star reviews left, right, and center. It's got both inserts and all the lyric sheets. And this is also the Japanese first press and also sounds magnificent. Now, another classic record in immaculate condition. Wait till you see this. This is The Who, live at Leeds. This is the fold out in really nice condition. And inside here is the lyric sleeve. The record also in immaculate condition. I believe it's a white label promo. There you have it. What a beautiful thing. Now, the battering ram that was Keith Moon is in full display, particularly on the 2 closing tracks, Magic Bus and My Generation. Lordy me, spectacular. All right, now this is also a white label promo, and it is a white label promo of Kate Bush's The Dreaming. A very idiosyncratic, weird, and wonderful record. My favourite song on this is There Goes a Tenor. Well worth a listen. We'll keep rocking and rolling through this list. All right. Now, I'm not quite going to call this Shortcuts Royalty because I don't get this record often enough. It is The Smiler, Rod Stewart. Now, Rod Stewart's solo records, probably up to including this one, are where you got to go for anything Rod Stewart. The rest of his solo records after this one became increasingly saccharine and then really a bit of a disgrace. This one got an absolute pummeling by the critics at the time, who just thought that it was just a knockoff. But it's one of those records, when you revisited the kind of rollicking slide guitar and just the general playfulness of it, just works. It's not quite as good as a couple of the earlier ones, but it's still well worth it. That's with the Obi. Okay. Now, arguably, Bruce's 2 best and most consistent records are the 2 Borns. Born in the USA and Born to Run. I've got both on Japanese first press, both in fabulous condition, particularly Born to Run. This is in beautiful nick. Lovely gatefold, Thunder Road leading to Jungle Land. There's your lyrics. There's a particularly moody picture of Brucey. And then a little bit happier on the inside. Beautiful thing. If you do not have Born to Run, cannot recommend that highly enough. And then the behemoth that was Born in the USA. Also Japanese first press in fantastic condition. Born in the USA, Cover Me, Downbound Train, I'm on Fire, Bobby Jean, Glory Days, Dancing in the Dark. My gosh, produced by John Landau and Bruce Springsteen himself. Look at that, iconic. And let's have a look at these inserts, because there's a few. This is some of the photos from the time. This is the lyric sheet. And there's the band. And this is a kind of story of the creation of the record. Again, you can use your Google Translate. In absolutely stonking condition. I promise you, it's pristine. As is this. Now, this record's probably one of the best on this list. This is the Japanese first press of what they call Susie Q, the debut album by Creedence Clearwater Revival. I Put a Spell on You, Susie Q, Walk on the Water. Just a really, really, really nice record. There's the lyric sheet. Very early Creedence record on the Fantasy label. Now, I've got a few to go before we answer our quiz question. Another classic record. This is the Allman Brothers Band live at the Fillmore East. The hard cardboard gatefold. Well, I mean, regularly listed and talked about as one of the great live albums. Duane Allman, of course, on lead and slide guitar. Greg Allman, Dickie Betts, Jerry Oakley, Butch Trucks on drums. Incredible sounding record. Now, this is probably the biggest surprise for me. I never really liked this record until I listened to the Japanese press, and then I kind of got it. This is David Gilmour's self-titled solo album. Again, Japanese first press, beautiful hard cardboard. Again, there's your inner. This is and there's the Japanese first press label. A surprisingly kind of fun record. I mean, I don't know, maybe because he was out from under the spell of Roger Waters for a while, he had that feeling of release, but it's a very, very powerful and fun record. Well, kind of fun, in inverted commas. This next record, though, is pure fun. This is an adrenaline rush. Now, my original quiz question was going to be the title track of this particular record is about being in the spotlight. It's the first single that I ever remember buying, and it was the biggest selling record in the UK in 1980. That was my original quiz question, and the answer is Super Trooper by ABBA. The winner takes it all. Super Trooper, the winner takes it all. All songs written, arranged, and produced by Benny Andersson and Bjorn Ulvaeus. Wow. Super Trooper by ABBA. Classic pop. Now, that was going to be my quiz question. What I actually ended up asking you, because I forgot to do it at the beginning, was this. Can you name the soundtrack from this picture? Well, give yourself a pat on the back if you came up with Queen, Flash Gordon. Of course, that being Ming. You can't tell, but this is this raised, beautiful sleeve. Look at the back. Oh, Queen had so much fun making this record. You can just tell. Dino De Laurentiis produced Flash Gordon. Now, it gets better because the sleeve that the record is held in, I'll just pull it over here, is this. Look at this. Oh dear. They had a lot of fun making this even down to the label on the record. There you go. Now, a lot of these are in immaculate condition and will be in really sharp pricing. I'm talking $30, $35, $40 for a lot of those. And they're in great condition. So keep an eye out for those on the list. If you have any questions, let me know. Any comments, put them in. Like and subscribe, all that business. And if you want to be part of my list, shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. Thank you.